going to actually do it, I would have to use your login credentials for the attorney, and I don't think we should do that. Like, you know,
We are going live in 5 seconds.
We are going live, yes. Smile, everyone.
Wait. First will be just the basic introductions for 5 minutes, and then we start.
Yeah. Mute yourself, Trent.
After Anjali, it's me. Then after that, it's Rahul, and then it's Mike.
Yes, we are live.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Anjali, your moderator for today, also heading the Sales and Marketing Division for My Legal Software. My Legal Software is a legal case management solution that is created for the lawyers by the lawyers. Today is Friday, October 21st, and we are here with our weekly webinar. Today in the webinar, we are going to talk about the ABCs of electronic filing and legal technology for federal litigation. In the webinar today, we are going to talk on the growing use of legal technology by private legal practices and courts. This webinar will also provide instructions on electronically commencing and actions in federal court and the benefits that legal technology offers. Today, as a speaker, we have with us Mr. Naresh Gehi, who is a highly experienced corporate attorney in New York, who specializes in assisting clients in extremely complex immigration matters. His firm, Gehi & Associates, has 80 members working internationally and is growing at a fast pace. Mr. Gehi serves as a personal advisor to the president of Suriname, wherein he advises the president in connection with reforming the laws of the country. Suriname is a country where president takes basically the person, Mr. Gehi is a personal advisor to him. And Mr. Gehi, I am proud to say that Mr. Gehi is also the founder of My Legal Software, wherein he serves as a mentor and trainer. Our second speaker for today is Mr. Michael Anthony. Mr. Michael Anthony is a marketing guru with an extensive career in marketing and sales. He is currently leading the nation's most successful B2B sales team. He has created successful brand campaigns for Fortune 500 companies, after which he started mentoring and guiding My Legal Software. His unique strategies have increased sales for the variety of businesses and products that we offer. The third speaker for today is Mr. Rahul Desai. He is a legal professional with over 10 years of experience in the industry. He is honored with a Juris Doctor from the finest Georgetown University. He is a brilliant researcher, legal writer, a reader, and his futuristic views about inclusion of technology in the legal profession are noticeable in the research and publications. Also, I would like to mention that in case if any of our audience has any of the questions, you can directly drop it on the comments below. Alternatively, you can also drop us an email on legalhelp@mylegalsoftware.com. So I'd like to give a couple of minutes to Mr. Gehi to begin with the seminar.
Firstly, thank you, Anjali, for the warm introduction of everyone. And today I'm joined by some wonderful people. And as you all can see, that the talent pool is getting better and better, thanks to all the support that we are getting from viewers like you who are making this possible. And firstly, thank you to each one of you for the roaring success of this platform within such a short span of time. And it's just because of the enthusiasm, your tenacity, your dedication that we've been able to make things happen. So let's talk about what we are going to learn today. So now let's talk about two different groups of lawyers. One are those who are already in practice, and sometimes they're nervous with court technology. And second are those who are new lawyers to the profession and what they need to know about federal court filing. I've done a lot of federal work, and not only in the immigration arena, but we've also practiced law when it comes to labor laws, employment laws. So our firm also practices labor law cases. And I have some great people with me, and Rahul is absolutely brilliant in what he does, and Mike will also give you a hands-on training of what we need to know about, of how to kind of pick and choose a software. That's why Mike comes in. But Rahul will actually tell you how electronic case filing is done. But I'm going to brief you a little bit about the substantive aspect of federal law. And this is good for all federal lawyers, and especially people who are planning on becoming federal lawyers. This is going to benefit. But if you're already a legend and if you filed a lot of cases, you may get a few tips here and there, and that may be helpful to you. So now let me talk about a simple example. Let me start with the basic example of what one needs to know. And if I miss something, the great news is that Rahul is there and he's handled a lot of federal cases with me. So we're going to talk about his experience. And with the combined knowledge, I can assure you're going to learn a lot. Number one, let's talk about the tools of your trade when you are engaging in federal practice. But of course, it's such a vast area that I won't be able to give you every single tip, neither will Rahul, but at least we'll be able to kind of give you sufficient information. Number one is that people have to know what is PACER. So PACER is a program wherein exactly that's linked to the court system that gives you a fair idea of where your case stands. And you can also look at what other lawyers have filed and what complaints have been filed and whatnot. So you need to subscribe to the PACER service. So you get a fair idea of exactly like when you file, you can see exactly when your complaint was filed, where it was filed. PACER is an excellent program for two reasons. One is that it can help you to check about your docket as to where you stand and what judge was on the case and what happened about the case. And it's all online. So that is very important. That's PACER. The second important thing for people to know about is going to be like about ECF, which is electronic court filing. And Rahul is going to give a full lecture about what is electronic court filing. And from my perspective, I'm going to talk about the substantive aspects so that everyone, has their own, kind of thing to say in today's session. So now from my perspective, what books are important? Number one is the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, if you're in federal practice. Secondly, as a lawyer, you should know PACER, which I mentioned. You should know about electronic court filing. And above all, know the rules of the court, because in some courts you have rules that, of how you need to file, what you need to file, how many exhibits you can file. So master the court rules. Judges' rules are super important in that regard. So look at the federal judges' rules. If once you get assigned after Rahul is going to tell you after you file that. And above all, if there's a magistrate assigned to the case, and if you consent to a magistrate under Rule 73 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, it's very important for you to know the magistrate rules. So now, as far as I'm concerned, I'll be speaking for exactly 4 more minutes because other speakers have to do a lot of talking today because this is a very, very good session. So I'm going to give an example about a mandamus. So if you're an attorney practicing mandamus, and what is mandamus? A mandamus is a command. And I'm talking specifically for ethical reasons, I'll be using New York as an example. So you're filing an action for mandamus under the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. And when you start your action, of course, you need to look at the first few federal rules. And you need to, of course, know 12B, because you'll always find exactly if you're going against the government, they're always ready with the 12B motion to make sure that exactly they come after you. And the leading case on that point for lawyers is the matter of Iqbal, which is very important for you to know. So for me, after you file the complaint, of course, you're going to have the initial conference before the judge. And what should you know about it? So first thing is that know the rules for a mandamus. What is a mandamus? It's a command from the court. It's a command, basically that the administrative authority needs to act. Can the administrative authority act in your favor and give you a favorable decision? The answer is no. So what the court is trying to make sure is there's a duty which is owed by the government, by the administrative authority, and they have not complied with their duty under the law. And if there is a particular duration of time, then the time is unreasonable under the circumstances. And you tried reaching out to them and they failed to perform their duty. And therefore, you're asking the court to kind of make sure that they render a decision. And ultimately, it's up to the court to look at the fairness to see whether the mandamus decision is warranted. The word decision is important because the decision in a mandamus action may be in your favor or it may not be in your favor. But the court can only compel the authority to render a decision in that case. So now, how the process works, how the filing works, what is going to happen? We are going to switch gears a little bit over here, and we are going to switch people a little bit. So first, Rahul is going to go on with that, and in between, after that, Mike will also talk about the importance of some of the features which can be used from my legal software. And what I would tell you from my experience, especially when it comes to state courts, WebEx has become very important. And I believe my legal software also has WebEx, which is kind of basically an important part of it. Secondly, Zoom is also integrated with it. And plus you have integrations with Google Meet so that the entire office can talk about it. And there are some amazing features that even if you're in federal court, the messaging feature can be very important. The announcement feature can be important so that people know that you're going to be in a federal hearing and everything. All those things are going to be explained by means of a live kind of demo by Rahul of how MYLS can be useful. And he's going to take examples from the template sections, how templates are created through My Legal Software, and how you can have this full circle. Remember, My Legal Software is not only meant for immigration lawyers. It's written over here. They have two programs. One is General Practice Speed, which is meant for every lawyer who can kind of try it out. And Immigration Speed is especially important for lawyers who are looking at immigration forms. And if they're looking at, the calendar, whether they want to have an EOIR calendar, a master calendar, year-end calendar, an individual calendar, that differentiates general practice for everyone. And the best thing about general practice is that you can have your templates in there. And also it has a very good integration with some other softwares also, like Dropbox and everything. So you can also kind of monitor who's worked on everything. So let me exactly 3:10. And now let me introduce Rahul, extremely bright and brilliant in law office technology. He's with us and he'll give you a full demo. Welcome, Rahul. Then later on, once we're done, then Mike will come in, then Anjali will come in, and I'll be jumping in between to trouble all of you. Thank you, Rahul. The floor is on your hands. Welcome.
Thank you very much. And thank you for that introduction. As the introduction emphasized, much of what we're going to be discussing is through the lens of, say, a mandamus action. And many people who file mandamus actions in federal court often come from a background of practicing in front of administrative agencies, administrative law judges. And so the nuts and bolts of actually, say, even opening a case in a federal district court are not things that they're often very familiar with. The first thing that you do need to know if you're talking about, for example, the Southern District of New York, is that cases filed by an attorney with very few exceptions must be electronically filed as if that's mandatory. So it is important for you to be both registered to electronically file as well as with PACER. As Mr. Gahey said at the start, PACER is a very useful tool, and one reason for that is that's where you register for your e-filing privileges with any federal district court.
Rahul, let me stop over here. Since you brought up this important question, because there are also a lot of newcomers, can you tell them how they can just start an account, for electronic ECF filing? Because a lot of people don't even have ECF accounts. So can you talk about that, please?
Sure. There is a URL for PACER where you first have to be an attorney admitted to the bar, licensed to practice in the district that you want to register. And second, you would go to the PACER website itself. On the website, it's pacer.uscourts.gov. One of the first options will be for, you'll see search for a case filing electronically. You can manage your account, and that's where you would create your PACER account. And also, in addition to that, you would register that account with specific courts that you were admitted and authorized to file in.
Very good. So now, Rahul, can you give them some live demos of how, from start to end, how would you finish the process up if you have something to show?
Sure. I think that we won't actually go through the say, so for example, Southern District Court itself, because that would require, logging in with attorney credentials and actually creating a case. But let's consider, for example, a case that you start with a client. Let's stick with the mandamus example. A client is waiting for a decision from an administrative agency. It's been 3 years. They haven't gotten a decision. They come into your office and they say that they would like to start a case with you to, sue the federal government to compel them to act. Let me see if I can pull up.
So Rahul, what I'm saying over here, if you could just show them a live demo of how it's
right.
Done.
Sorry, I'm trying to share the screen.
Yeah, you can share the screen, but I'll continue talking over here. For the legal part of it, I'll do the talking. And from the, I would say, from the portal standpoint, you can do the talking on that. So until you figure it out, let me talk about it. So now what Rahul is saying, until he figures it out, and let me know when you're ready, Rahul, over here. Take your time, there's no rush. So end of the day, what Rahul is going to show you is exactly how to kind of start the case, how to use a proper portal, and after that, how do you start and how do you end it? And for example, right, the first thing that you need to know is you need to basically have a cover sheet in federal court. Make sure that your cover sheet is ready, that you'll have to click the type of action you're going to begin. You can find that cover sheet on the Eastern District's website. You can find it on the Southern District website. They look at that very carefully. Remember the fees. I think it's around $405 or whatever that is. So make sure that you're ready with the fees part of it. That's number two. And thirdly, after that, you make sure that your mandamus complaint is ready and the verification and everything is ready. And if you're serving the government, so you need to make sure whom to serve and what to serve and where to serve. So those three things are very important in the mandamus action, because sometimes the government will come back and tell you, hey, listen, you forgot to serve this one. So that is very important. So now there'll be a PowerPoint, I believe. Anjali, you have the PowerPoint. How do you want to proceed? Anjali?
Yes, Anjali, would you be able to pull up?
Yes, sure. Just give me a minute. I'll just share this.
Sure.
So once you put it up, I'll stop talking. How's that? That'll be a good tip for me not to talk anymore. Until then.
Yeah. So Rahul, also, I think the website that you mentioned for starting the e-filing and all, I think you should mention it again, because audience, I hope all of our viewers and attendees are actually taking notes, so that.
Yeah, I'll mention that. I'll mention that. Don't worry about it. That's what I'm talking about. So now, so important over here is the federal rules of procedure until you come back. So what I would do is be very careful when you're filing. Now, these are the common tips where people go wrong. Number one is the formatting is not okay. These are federal judges, folks. They're going to throw you out of the court. Number one. Secondly, you put too many documents out there. That can be a problem. So now look at this real case. And I think Rahul will be giving an explanation. This is actually the dashboard of My Legal Software, which people are using, of how they handle it. Rahul, I think you can show them of how you work on this here.
Yes. So going back to the original example of the mandamus action and the client who comes into your office who wants to start a case with you. You sit down with the client, you find out the details of his case, that they have been actually taking an inordinately long amount of time to act on some decision that they are obligated to act. Say the client has an application for relief in front of them and it's just been pending indefinitely. So you would first then say, have your initial appointment with the client, you would do your intake, you would get the information that you need, and then you would decide, say, based on what the client has told you so far, that this is a good case that you want to take, and you would, say, using general practice speed, create a new case. And here on the top left corner of general practice speed, once you do so, you will be taken to a new window where all of the required information that you would typically need to start a case would be the client's name or the name of any other participants. If, for example, there are multiple clients, you'd be able to put them all of their information here. If it's a case where, say, there are petitioners and beneficiaries or other parties besides your client, you would be able to put their contact information and their additional biographical information in these fields. Below this, you would then enter the case information. This would tell you the type of case it is. It's a mandamus action, it's federal litigation. You could have multiple filters there that would basically enable you during your reports to filter for all cases of this type and more easily search.
So Rahul, let's fast forward this. So what we are dealing with here, we have, you can see everything that you want in the data, and that can be filled in. And also you can make sure that your staff can also get a confirmation right there that a case has started. So that helps them. For example, if you're an attorney and if you assign it to the paralegal, immediately the paralegal gets a notification with a timeline in this of how soon they have to start working, and you'll also be able to monitor it. So suppose you have to, kind of file a mandamus within around, 2 weeks. Your staff member, whose name is Jane, she gets an immediate notification here. And there's another good thing over here is that this program doesn't allow you to skip the retainer. So the good thing is that in this program, it was created by lawyers, as you all know. So suppose in case, God forbid, if the client is asking for a copy of the retainer, even if you have a kind of a paralegal who's kind of a little laid back, and if you're an attorney, most of them are superb, she will not be able to skip the retainer here. So that's made mandatory here for ethical reasons. And once if that gets done, the good news for you is that you're covered fully. And the client cannot say, well, I don't want to pay you the fee. The terms of and conditions are laid out. So remember, you cannot skip screens here, which you may not find in a lot of softwares. So that came from a lot of experience, because sometimes we've seen that paralegals can skip the data. The other good thing I think, Rahul, we can talk about is that, people cannot skip data here. like, if you have a paralegal who likes to kind of get the job done within seconds, she won't be able to skip the data. So tomorrow, if she leaves the firm, you'll be in good hands. That makes it kind of ethically good for you to make sure that, things are very much under control with you. Raul, what would you like to say about
Correct.
that?
As the super administrator, you can determine that certain fields are absolutely mandatory and cannot be skipped over, which helps, as was said, with any future issues.
Right.
But to go back to, say, opening a case, one of the things that you need to know when you're filing your complaint, what you're going to need to have, as Mr. Gahey said, was your initial initiating document, basically the complaint or a petition or notice of removal in other cases. But for mandamus, it'll be the complaint. You'll also need your civil cover sheet. You'll need your summonses. And for mandamus, you may need a pro hac vice motion if you're not if you're not admitted to the district itself. But those are going to be your standard documents. So what you need to know then in order to fill out and file your complaint are basically the names of all the relevant plaintiffs and defendants. In a mandamus action, you're typically going to be suing the government agency, any relevant officers of it. Mr. Gahey, would you like to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, so since in legal advice, I'll be talking about it. So the question here is, and of course I'm here for you, so there's nothing to worry and in that regard, but let's make life easy over here. So you need to make sure that all the particular parties are listed over here. So MYLS has a feature where you can also put the name of the plaintiffs and the defendants and everything in it. Once you're done with that, so once you're done, then you'll have to basically make sure whom to serve and where to serve. And if you're new to federal practice, it doesn't matter which area you're in. The MYLS staff, like people like Rahul, can always help you out for legal research, not to give legal advice, but even in a different state, we can just give you a hand holding to do the research for you. So we do that for a lot of people and law firms. And secondly, let's go to some of the features here. Now, you also have a mandamus that you can show them over here, Rahul.
I don't think we have mandamus up, but basically the other thing I did want to point out on that previous page, sorry, just before we go on, is that one of the features MyLS offers that's helpful to federal litigators is you have both case types and case type groups, which correspond in many ways to, say, causes of action and nature of the nature of the suit on a civil cover sheet. So you can organize your suits and find, previous cases you've worked on in exactly this kind of field or area that you can use as reference or, for related materials.
Also, Rahul, there's another feature that I like very much are the templates. So what we don't do on the templates is that what we can do is you can change the names and everything and save it in the templates, and you can use the same template over and again. And if you're doing a mandamus practice, if you're doing a petition for review, or if you're filing a case in the Second Circuit, or if you're filing it in a different circuit, that can be very handy too. And of course, like you cannot cover everything in the software, but we've done a decent job to try to cover everything. Now, there's another thing, since we are going to go step by step, is that the next feature that I come to is the accounting feature. And in most softwares, you don't need to have a proper accounting feature. It helps you to keep track of billing. And the other advantage is that we have hourly billing also covered in the software. So can you talk a little bit about the hourly billing and everything, why that becomes important sometimes? Now, take an example. If you're handling a Fair Labor Standards Act case under 216B of the FLSA, that's the Fair Labor Standards Act. So if you cannot come to an agreement for the Rule 68 in New York, then you'll have to, of course, go before the judge, and you've got to show them the hours that you put in, and that hourly billing feature can be very, very, very important for you in order to prove your hours. So this is integrated. You don't have to go for an outside software and get that in. So Rahul, can you talk about the hourly billing feature?
Yes, one of the benefits of MyLS is that it creates an automated timesheet for when you're on the page. So if you're on the case page for, this is a sample case in the background, you can see 17283, as long as you're on that page, a clock will be running with the work that you do on that page. At the conclusion of that work, you can click stop on that time clock, and it'll give you the opportunity to create a case note for that amount of time with that date, describing what you did that was billable, and then it will automatically input that into a timesheet that records everybody's work on that case, the rates and the hours at which they worked, and what the total amount that was billed was. This is great for invoices if you are charging your clients by the hour. It's great in mandamus suits where you might want to request attorney's fees under the Equal Access to Justice Act afterwards. And it's just great for tracking your own productivity and the amount of time that's spent, within the office on different matters.
Right. And there's one other thing which I feel it's critically important is that you can also pull reports. And other than that, this is integrated within the system. So you're not paying separately. Half the time you're using another company's software for this, you're paying $50 a month. All this is integrated within the system. So luckily you don't have to use Zapier and go to another company and pay them separately. The hourly billing is included. And also Zoom has been integrated in this. So now suddenly, like, you are working on a mandamus, and at this stage, what happened is that you missed one or two questions from your client. You can send them a Zoom link from here. And also there's another feature which no one has, and especially that's an exceptional thing. We also have a VoIP company that has been integrated here. So through Dialpad is also integrated. Look at the level of technology here. So through Dialpad, you can even call the client from the system, talk to him, finish up your brief right there, finish it up, you're fully done. This is a next level technology thing that has been integrated. You may not find this in other platforms. You're looking at the integration of Dialpad if needed. Plus, that's a phone company. Look at that. And secondly, you have this. And thirdly, also, like, paralegals from different countries who are lawyers actually have been integrated to make sure that if you're looking to save costs, that can be a big factor for you. Another thing is that Rahul talked about how, and I think Mike can step into this, how this credit card feature is integrated to save money to people. Now, for example, right, now when you're charging your credit card, a lot of companies are using companies wherein exactly your law firm is getting billed for the credit card fee. Now, John starts a mandamus action here. And the problem is when John starts a case with you, he pays you a $4,000 deposit, and you're not happy because $120 got deducted from your pocket attorney because you accepted a credit card. Most states, let me make that clear, not every state, New York, New Jersey, I think most of them, you can get a list, allow you to make sure that the buck is passed on to your client. So now when you're accepting 4,000, so you're getting 4,120. So at the end of the month, the client is paying for the credit card fee. So this portal may be free for you. Rahul, why don't you talk about that, how this works?
I think so. Mike, would you actually? So the great thing about the credit card portal is that it is also integrated with your invoices and your your hourly time tracking in one single system. So there is no friction or slippage between basically where you record what you're owed, where you inform the client of what they owe, or record for the government if it's an EJA case, and how you are collecting the payment if it's from the client itself. And your ability to basically set the terms of the payment collection in many states.
Okay, good. Now people want me to get back to substantive law, which means that now you filed your first case. And now what do you need to do? See, what we're going to do, we are going to teach you law from my perspective, plus at the same time, you're going to talk about the system. Now you're on your first mandamus case and you started it. And what is going to happen after you file it? You're going to get a fee receipt payment. Then you're going to get a court, civil docket number for your case and everything. Then after that, exactly, they'll tell you who's the judge who's been assigned on the case. This is the substantive law. And basically, once a service is effected upon the other side, and especially what I would tell lawyers, and if you're dealing with an administrative agency, please make sure some of them still require personal service upon them. So make sure that you do the mailings properly. Because if you don't mail them properly, they'll come and they'll say, well, you did not follow the Administration Procedures Act. And, as I said, my job is to talk to you like an attorney here for substantive law. So if you're a new lawyer or if you're someone who hasn't done a mandamus before, don't be scared. MLS has staff that can help you if you're a member. We can, do some hand-holding for you. And the next thing that you need to know is, I would tell new lawyers, try to consent to a magistrate. Because magistrates are wonderful. I mean, I've had the best experience with most of the magistrates. So consent to a magistrate under Rule 73, that'll make your life very easy. And sometimes the administrative agency will ask you for time. Always give them time, because what happens, you're trying to establish a rapport with opposing counsel. And if it's an AUSA, you're dealing with, the US Attorney's Office, be very nice to them. Because even judges, if you look at judges' rules, okay, look at the rules of this great judge whom I have a lot of admiration for, is Judge Diane Gujarati, amazing judge in federal court in New York. Look at the rules, follow the rules, because even judges expect you to resolve the case, if possible, with the agency, and they love settlements. And once you've assigned a magistrate, make sure that you're going to have an initial conference, and that initial conference now can be put on the alerts in this section. At the same time, what you can do is tell them, Rahul, if you get an initial conference, what are we going to do over here? And how is the system going to help them to remember? And how many reminders are there in MYLS so that nobody misses? So look at how we are talking of substantive law. At the same time, we are showing you the value of MYLS, because MYLS was created after we came across these issues where people were missing all the deadlines and everything.
So yes, nobody ever wants to lose track of any court deadline or appearance. And MyLS has a number of ways to ensure or help you ensure that you do not. The first, obviously, is the calendar. Anytime that you're scheduled to appear, even when you create a case, you'll have the ability to put in any appointment or event or deadline that you wish, and it will appear on your calendar, which is at the center of the dashboard when you open MyLS every day. You can also set reminders in your calendar for when those deadlines are going to be coming up. You have countdown clocks for when deadlines are going to be coming up. And finally, you also have notifications and tickets that you can schedule in advance or afterwards. We call them lifeline dates. If you have a very long lasting case, you can say, follow up from this in, say, 2 months or 6 months or even 1 year. You can set that date out in advance when you're starting the case or at any point afterwards to ensure that you're on top of all of your deadlines. In addition to that, we also do have, yes, notifications and alerts that allow you to ensure that those things are also covered. But basically, yes, you will have a plethora of ways to stay on top of everything in your practice with MyLS.
All right, now I'm going to take it to the next question. See, that's why you're learning substantive law from me. At the same time, you're seeing why the system is important. Now, suddenly what happened is you filed basically your case right now. And after filing of your case, what happened is that, you're not in your office. Now, the AUSA's office called you. They said they're looking for Attorney John Doe who filed an action. You missed it. My LSS was created with an intent to make sure you don't miss anything. Now, what your paralegal will do, if it's a very urgent case, wherein exactly she wants to make sure that, oh my God, I don't want to forget this, you can create a ticket. The ticketing feature is a wild card over here. You can create a ticket when the judge calls you, when a paralegal calls you. We made it in such a way, the devil is in the details, that you can get it anywhere and everywhere. Rahul will show that feature later on, but let me talk about it at this stage. To that, you'll be able to get a full round. And secondly, we also, if you're in an emergency, we have some amazing features wherein your entire law firm can know. Entire law, we'll talk about that at the personal demos, that the entire law firm will know this judge needs a call right away. This judge needs a call. There'll be an alert given to the entire law firm. So those features were also included, because there are times when the lawyer is not there, the paralegal is kind of suffering over that she doesn't know what to do. Those things were included to make sure that that can help you, to even avoid a sanction if the judge is kind of very much into reaching you out and you're unable to read the judge. And one of the interesting feature is the chat feature, wherein your paralegal can chat with you, they can text you from the system. This is like kind of way beyond imagination. And thanks to several lawyers, paralegals who are giving us the feedback in developing this technology. We haven't done this before, but people have said that why don't you actually use a demo of how the system works? Another thing that we can talk about is one important thing is, Rahul, is the amount of research and time that was put into auditing features. Your paralegal left you, your attorney left you. There are features wherein you can assign and reassign and you will not miss it. That was the most difficult part of the research, which we had to do. And that's a standard problem. So what happens if someone leaves the company, right? Suddenly you had around 72 cases. 4 are going to slip through the cracks. That's the problem with lawyers are having. So we also came up with solutions for that. So this is just, we are scratching the surface. Now let's get back to a mandamus. So now what happens is that, you file the action, the other attorney gets in touch with you, and you are scheduled for an initial conference. Now, when you are scheduled for an initial conference, few things that become very important for Rahul is the case notes. And the second thing is that exactly what type of case is it, what type of client that is, and the case summary that is a part of MYLS. Plus, at the same time, what is very important is that Rahul actually said it is the alerts. Talk about that, Rahul.
Sure. And as I did want to just emphasize one thing you were saying earlier, one of the benefits of MyLS being integrated with an IT system like Dialpad is that the alerts will also be able to show up on your cell phone and your email with the app. So you do have access to immediate notifications, even if you're out of the office, if necessary, via your phone. And the alert system as well works that way. You basically get reminders of whatever alert that you, your administrator or office manager wants to set, and you can schedule those in advance, or they can even be, just at the moment itself.
Also, another thing is cost savings. Now, take an example. We have a receptionist working in our firm, but when we get busy, right, we have receptionists working in different countries to take our calls. MyLS has that integration, which you will not find in many platforms. So, in a sense, you'll be able to see the person working for you, even if, suppose, in case if she's in Mexico, if you're having clients who are Spanish and everything, it's cost saving in a sense that she can work on the platform too. And above all, there are top-notch security features that also tell you who logged in where and at what time and at what place. We have those integrations here, which can even tell you whether someone is downloading, what time the person downloaded the file. These are security measures which were very difficult to develop in these systems. And Anjali is the best person to talk about, and I believe Mike can also chip into that. And also, there are some other things like the mail in and the mail out feature. So suppose, Rahul, now take an example, you have this client of yours. Let's go back to the mandamus. And unfortunately, the judge did not rule in your favor. You filed the mandamus, you went over there. And now, again, coming back to the substantive areas of practice, is what will happen next after you file your mandamus and everything is generally there'll be an initial conference under the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. Generally, you'll have a 16B conference for lawyers. And at the 16B, just make sure, Rule 16, am I correct, Rahul?
Correct.
Yeah, so Rule 16 conference, you're going to have it. And then after that, when you have a Rule 16 conference, make sure that exactly you're going to have a discovery calendar and everything. And if some mandamus, try to settle your case right there. Otherwise, what the government is going to say that, okay, I'm going to file a 12B motion. And after that, you're going to defend it. So that's the next thing that happens. Now, this is where the uploading feature comes in. When you get back to your office, you ask your paralegal to upload it in the uploading feature so that you have track of the case. Set a calendar deadline by setting alerts. Look at the alerts function now when you have to make sure that it's filed with the court, and you'll get numerous reminders that, hey, listen, don't miss it, or get an extension. There are extension features wherein you can even change the alert to the next extended date so that you don't miss anything. Very difficult feature, but that has been integrated into it. So you're getting real-time kind of track, and you can even check MyLS on your phone, correct, Rahul?
Correct.
So you can check it on your phone to see what's going on. You're in court, you get in touch with your secretary, what the hell is happening, go down to a Kinko's, print out the document, you have it handy over there. So these are some features that were very much thought about. And also, I cannot forget the importance of DocuSign. So if your client is somewhere, you want them to sign it, you have DocuSign integrated. You're not going outside. All these features are inside. There are numerous features here. And it took years to develop this portal, especially for practicing lawyers. And this is meant for any lawyer, general practice lawyer, who's looking at kind of basically, getting the work done. Now, the other thing which I basically kind of look at very carefully is, God forbid, your client filed a complaint against you stating that you lost the mandamus, which was not your fault. So this amazing mailing feature, in and out, you can print out the reports, tell them, hey, listen, I did everything, send it, to the committee, and they may give you a clean check, that basically you did your job properly. Just taking an example, God forbid, if it ever happens to you, you'll be in good shape. I don't want that to happen to any lawyer, but we've taken those precautions to that extreme that was needed in this, really. Rahul, your next thing?
Yes, so I just saw that you're getting questions now, and the first question was, what are the exceptions when you cannot electronically file a case? For attorneys, there are exceptions for pro se filers, but for attorneys in, say, civil actions, the only two real exceptions in, for example, the Southern District of New York are cases that are if you wish to file under seal, or your action under seal, or if you're starting a case that either has a temporary restraining order or an order to show cause attached.
All right, so the next question is from one of the, what ultimately causes lawyers to adopt? You don't have a choice. Unfortunately, everything is getting so electronic that you don't have a choice these days. And also with MYLS, there are trainers available, and the trainers can be helpful to you. I'll tell you why. Suppose if you have to file a mandamus and now you're nervous over here that it's not going through, our trainers can even jump into your system, talk to you over there by calling you on Zoom. Don't worry, the panic button is there, will help you out. Your paralegal didn't show up, you're handicapped, what are you going to do? So this is the difference that comes on the table with the MYLS. And for example, you're not too tech savvy. You need some handholding. Michael is excellent with that. He's a local. He can come, he frequents between New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Connecticut all the time. And if it's a big firm, will come and talk to you. Now, another live example is that Gay and Associates has been using my legal software for 18,000 cases. We have 18,000 cases in the firm. Someone can even take a look at it. Imagine the number of cases you can do. And there are some other features wherein I like, which can help you to grow your business. So if you're practicing in a particular area, wherein you have a recurring client, you started a bill for a client, or you started an FLSA case for a client, and he's going to, the client is going to tell you, I want to basically refer another client to you. So the thing is that you can use the reminders features, you can use the notification feature. There are features that allow you to be in touch with the client. And you can also see that now after Jose is done with this, he wants to start a corporation. So through the mailing feature, you can also send a reminder through him and let him know that, Jose, listen, here's the mail for you, come in. And Jose also gets a client dashboard here. So the client dashboard helps you to be in touch with Jose. And through that, what happens is the Jose becomes your permanent client. So that is a great feature from the client dashboard itself. Jose is calling you 100 times. Tell me, hey, please look at your client dashboard before you call me. Problem solved. But definitely, I know that not all clients are tech savvy, but at the end of the day, there are some that you'll be able to avoid as much as possible. Yes, Rahul, next.
Okay, let's see, what were the next questions? Oh, actually, before I go on to the next question, I did want to emphasize one, since we've been talking so much about ethical issues that your firm may encounter either through the fault of a former or current employee, I noticed that, I remember that you had mentioned earlier the assignment and reassignment features that our reports have for former employees. One of the nice things about those reports is that they help you, if you do find, say, years after the fact that you had a previously problematic employee, you can actually filter for all of the cases that had been assigned to that employee in the past and do a review specifically of those cases that allows you to, basically.
All these features are so helpful that most lawyers get into, kind of, unfortunately, we all get into kind of that nervous breakdown when someone leaves the firm. And it's difficult, and that took a lot of time for us to develop. Not only that, plus the tons of other features. That's the time is too short for us to show you. This is more like an encyclopedia for lawyers. Like, I would say, it's not a small program, it's a big program. It's more like exactly a full engine that you could think about. It took nearly 12 years for us to develop this program. Thanks to Rahul too, who gave a lot of feedbacks, because as you all can see, these are real examples of people who have used the software very well. I'm talking about Rahul itself. And the other thing is that exactly can also help you to grow your business, because you're being in touch with your client at all times. And that's a very helpful feature. So I think Mike has a few things to talk about now. Mike, it's your turn. And please start talking for a few. And then after that, Rahul, and you can have an interactive session for the next few minutes. And I'll be back until then.
Yeah, of course. I think you guys covered a lot of it, but I think the biggest thing I can say is that in these days, especially with everything that has been going on with the pandemic, and it really accelerated the web-based attorney market, I guess you could say. So having your cases on the web has become more of a necessity than ever before. And my legal software brings a 360-degree solution to all the case management needs. It's really comprehensive. It's a cloud-based software that will ensure that nothing falls through the cracks, and you are always on top of all your assignments, the calendars, the reporting, and the task assignments. So one thing that I think we missed is with the task is if you're working with multiple attorneys and you're working in unison, it really helps you work with one another on accomplishing one goal or one case. So working within the system is great, and it really is very customizable, and it's really how the software is very powerful. So you can take it as fast as you need it. It's something that I guess you could relate it to like a Lamborghini. The more you push on the gas, the faster it's going to go, the better you're going to do, the more you'll see the benefits of it. And yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to reach out and take a demo, we're local. We'll do a demo via Google Meet, Zoom. I can come in and do a demo in person. Just reach out and ask about our demos.
So it's a request to all of our attendees that in case if you have any questions that are related to e-filing or MyList or any of the legal features, please mention your questions in the comments below. And if you want to schedule a demo with us, you can drop an email to us at maybe at Anjali@MyLegalSoftware or at legalhelp@MyLegalSoftware, or even you can even give a call at the number up the back, like it's 212-390-9493. And we'll be happy to give you a demo. If you're a New York-based lawyer, we can also have Mike at your office to show you what the software looks like. And yes, Rahul, so let's take a couple of more questions before the time goes off. And it's a request to all the attendees that in case if you're not able to answer any of your questions, we'll definitely get back to you over the email. And yeah, Rahul, so I think the next question is what not to do while e-filing.
Sure, that's a very comprehensive question, and there are any number of ways that your e-filing can get rejected. One thing I would emphasize is that most courts do have a specific clerk for e-filing, the SDNI does, who can assist you, as well as training programs themselves. I would say to start, you very much want to familiarize yourselves with the ECF rules for the district as well as the local rules. And in addition to that, you would also want to look for any specific ECF instructions that that district has. So for example, some districts do require courtesy copies to be sent by hard copy, while others do not. And you really want to familiarize yourself with the requirements of, say, opening a new civil case are for that district. But yes, if you do run into any errors, and that obviously happens to everybody through some, inadvertent issue, most courts will have both a court clerk and as well as an email help center or an online help center. But that's another reason why it's important to try to file your claim as soon as possible, so that if you do need to amend or refile anything, you have that time and opportunity.
All right, so yeah, so just a few important things. Next, yeah, so Anjali has to say a few things, I believe. One other thing I want to stress the importance is that Mike, the entire monthly licensing fee may be free for you. It may be free for you because what you're charging in your credit card, if you're spending $2,000 in credit card fees a month, just imagine, that entire billing will be going to your client, because this is where the integration comes in, that the software may be completely free for you. If you're going for hourly billing, you're billing with a separate company, it's integrated, you're saving money out there. If you're looking at a different template feature, it's in there. Everything is over here. The biggest mantra behind it was to make sure that lawyers save money by using the software. And if you're not tech savvy, the entire portal is too easy. And Mike is a fantastic trainer. If you're New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, we can even train you. Anjali is a great trainer. We have Pallavi here. We have many people here who can help you. Rahul is brilliant. And as you can see, that Rahul works in the legal research department, and he's brilliant in research. And if you're stuck up with a problem, Rahul is a life example who can come in and you can help you out with legal research if needed.
Thank you, sir. So I think next question, I think it's for Mike. The next question is what ultimately causes lawyers to adopt to legal technologies in their practice?
Convenience, I'd say. As you probably know, lawyers are often set in their ways, but once they kind of see how easy things can be when you put a little technology to things, it makes their lives a lot easier, increases their business, increases their margins, makes them more money, makes them happy. They don't have to work as hard. They can They have the ability to go on vacation and work from their vacation room, or work for an hour here, work for an hour there, and get just as much done as if they were spending the entire day within an office. So it really accelerates your business. And
a lot of the lawyers who have actually chosen, sorry to cut you, and have chosen this model of people like, small lawyers who want to work from home, mid-sized lawyers who don't know technology. Recently, Mike was training someone who was so happy with Mike that, he went to the office and trained them, and the people said, I've never seen something like this. And actually, it's a retired judge, I believe. I don't want to take names here.
Yeah.
But Mike has been training retired judges. Imagine judges are adopting to this technology. And there are two products here. For immigration lawyers, that's a separate product. The second general practice part of it, that is more like a rocket science, I believe, which Rahul was very much instrumental in creating. So we are talking today about the general practice, which is mainly for general practice lawyers. And it has very much customized features for general practice lawyers, which is not a part of the immigration program. That's very separate. This is like a completely different thing. And as Rahul rightly says it, and Mike says it, compare it with other softwares, then you make your decision. Don't basically just make a blind decision, compare it, and then you decide exactly whom you feel is the best.
Sure. And sir, I think one of our viewer wants to know, what are the best startups, US or international, working on problem solving for lawyers?
Which are the best startups? It's for them to decide which are the best startups. And but thanks to this team, that just imagine in this short period of time, Amilis is getting a very, very good name in the market, and it's all about the team that supports the product. It's the knowledge. Like, look at Rahul's background, impressive. Look at Mike's background, impressive in what he does. It's the key players and the knowledge that sells. And our IT team is like kind of top. As Mike rightly said, you can be sitting at home and you can be working. You might be sitting in a cafeteria, you can work. You're stuck up in the courtroom and the judge wants you to get the document. Tell the judge, I want to go to the bathroom and come back. You go down and you pick up a copy and give it to the judge. It's so easy with this. Imagine you saved yourself. Your paralegal gets a call, she cannot get in touch with you. Right, your help is right there. Basically, use the feature. You're all good to go. All these things are factored into the building of Amilis. One feature we don't want to talk about is our reports. The reports are just kind of unimaginable. And those are like specially meant once if Mike is the person to talk to and Anjali is the person to talk to for that. It's like anything, even if someone has left you 10 years ago, you'll be able to find. Then the other thing is that if sometimes you get so busy, you don't close cases. And suddenly that can kind of, that is going to haunt you because you may have 20,000 cases. And suppose, God forbid, if you pass away, there's a system that will remind you that exactly it's time for you to close this case too. You can set a deadline. All these things were kind of factored into, because what happens is that you're piled up with hundreds of cases, thousands of cases with no end to it. Am I correct on that, Rahul? And now you lost a client, you don't know a client's name. John Doe came in from so-and-so's place and everything you forgot. There's a feature for that. You'll be able to even figure out where the client is from.
Yes, sir. We offered advanced searches.
There's a lot of.
I'd like to mention that there are so many features that we can't talk about in depth. We can't show here.
What Anjali is saying, that this is not an ordinary software. It's something beyond this. And by the way, we'll meet the challenge. Yeah. Rahul is ready to meet the challenge on this in terms of the legal part of it. And look at it, and I believe that's what it is. But remember, we were talking about mandamus, and now let's get back to the substantive aspect. Because time is passing by, because we want people to learn also at the same time.
Yeah.
Besides this. All right. So now you got a 12B motion from the government. And what happens is that the government lost. So the good thing is that you got the relief. Or the government may settle the case with you, tell you, okay. And what you need to do as a lawyer, now, sometimes the government will tell you, hey, listen, great. Your client got the relief. You're going to give him basically what he's looking for. You are looking for, a federal, kind of relief under the Americans with Disabilities Act, that is, the benefits will be granted because it was pending for a long time. Do not close your case at that time under the ADA also, if you're talking about. So make sure that if sometimes the government will tell you it will come after 2 months, you're going to get it. You can let them know that let the case be extended wherein you can basically make a letter motion by consent of the parties to extend the timeline, upload that in My Legal Software, keep it, and when you get that benefit, then you can go for the closing of the case. The other strategy you can adopt as a federal lawyer is to make sure that you close the case with the understanding with opposing counsel that by means of a letter motion, you'll be able to reopen the case before the judge, and then you get it back on the docket if you didn't get it. And in your step, you need to say if the government fails to comply, there'll be cost and attorney's fees associated with it. Those are litigation tactics which you learned, because our purpose is not only basically the software, it's also educating you so that you can also learn when you're with us. Yes, so Anjali, remembering Priyanjali, who's a brilliant person, another person, and Palvi and everyone else here, is our next talk, which I want to say about next week. We are going to talk about lawyers. Why is your copyright and why is your trademark so important? So lawyers take it very lightly because they build a brand. So as we are seeing that speakers are coming in, they want to talk on the forum. If you want to be a speaker in your area, so look at this. This time you have an intellectual property expert, a lawyer who's coming and talking on it. So next week you're going to talk about IP law. He's going to talk about copyright, and he's going to talk about trademarks. And that's Larry Rosenthal. Next time, why should lawyers kind of protect their work? And there are case laws on the point that you did this fabulous brief. Can someone steal your brief fully? Can he copy it fully? That's one thing he's going to discuss. You can ask him questions. And you made this brand. Your name has become a brand now. Someone else is copying your name. Is that allowed under the law? Do you have a trademark? Do you have a logo? So he's going to talk about that next time. And that's very good for new lawyers who are starting off, and even for seasoned lawyers who made it into a brand, because your brand is very important for you for the future, because someone else may use it and you may lose all the hard work you've done. So folks, if you want to be a speaker, get in touch with Anjali. If you've been in the profession for a while, we'd love to have you as a speaker so we can talk further and we can discuss further. Then after that, we have another person coming in. We have speakers lined up. Speakers are getting lined up at My Legal Software because we have a very good screening system to make sure that we have someone else now coming from the Queens, a former president of the Queens County Bar Association, another new member who will be coming and talking about such cases, the special immigrant juveniles. Then after that, we have an asylum expert coming in and whatnot down the line.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Anjali,
Yeah.
last minutes are yours.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It's a request to all of our audience. If you want a demo with My Legal Software, give us a call at 212-390-9493. And we'll be happy to give you a short, brief understanding of what the features look like in the live demonstration. I hope we'll be able to provide all the solutions to the problems that you're the solutions that you're looking for. And thank you so much, sir, for the introduction for My Legal Software. And thank you, Mike and Rahul, for being in the forum. I'd also like to take a minute and mention that, like sir said, next week, Thursday, 3 to 4 p.m. EST, we'd be also talking about the intellectual properties. And the speaker would be Mr. Larry Rosenthal, who is an intellectual property attorney. And of course, we'll be having Mr. Gehi with us to talk in the session. And in case if you have missed out on any of the sessions, you can watch out all of our webinars from our website or from our social channels, that is Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, or Instagram. And in case if you want to be a speaker, please send us your resumes at legalhelp@mylegalsoftware.com. We'll have a look at the resume. If you're an attorney, an experienced attorney in any of the practice areas, we'd be happy to take a demonstration, a short meeting with you to understand if you fit our requirements for the speaker.
Simple thing is let them call you at 212-390-9493. That's the easiest way to reach her. Just call her. Yeah. She'll be at she'll be talking to you right away. And Mike, you have 1 minute to talk about, so you can talk about what you want to say. Then Rahul will wind up. Then finally, I'll give the closing statement.
Yeah. I just employ everybody that's listening and watching to take a demo and kind of take a test drive in the software. And
you can test drive to the office too, correct? You go and meet lawyers in the office, correct? And train them. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Because once you have the training and you see the benefits, you'll see the benefits immediately. It's not a thing of oh, where am I going to save money? You'll see exactly where you're going to make money. and where you're going to save money, because it's a all inclusive 360-degree
Mike,
solution.
that brings me to the question. Do you know a lot of lawyers give up cases because they don't have anyone to do the research or help them at the back, and they lose thousands of dollars? And that's where people like Rahul come in. They'll tell you to take up the case. For example, you want to take up an immigration case, we'll help you. You take up a divorce case, we'll give a hand over there. So you can really save money by using, the legal help which is available. Of course, that is limited, but you want to go for the advanced plan, there are plans. We
really help with the business at scale.
And another thing is, you cannot find a secretary here, you cannot find a paralegal. Get a great virtual paralegal through my legal software. You're having billing issues, accounting issues. We'll give an accountant who can handle all the accounting issues. He'll do the collections and everything for you. Do your entire math, deal with your accountant, less headache for you. And other than that, you need a paralegal, whom you're ready to train, who's too good for you. Do the introduction, let them do the work. So you're saving money because you have this foreign paralegal which you're using. So that the thing is that you're saving on cost. Instead of spending $4,000, you're spending $2,500. Huge saving plus better quality. You don't have to worry.
Your work.
They don't even take days off and everything. Like, I'm taking a day off like this, day off like that. They'll be working for you at your hours. And as I said, this program is integrated in such a way that as though the person is sitting in the next room. So even if they have to take a bathroom break, they'll have to report to you when they take a bathroom break. Rahul, it's your turn now.
Yes, I just wanted to add, if there were any questions that we didn't get a chance to answer during this 1 hour discussion, please feel free to reach out to us. We would like this to be an ongoing conversation with you about both MyLS and any legal or educational issues that you may have as well. This wasn't just limited to the hour. We're happy to continue talking to you about both.
All right. So my last closing statement now, since you did your mandamus very well, and now the client wants to it's time for you to get your fees in order. Make sure that you look at the accounting feature on My Legal Software, collect your money before you send the decision in his hand. Otherwise, you'll have to engage in collection practices. For that, again, you have My Legal Software, but then you can use the virtual support to reach out to the client and get the money out there. Got your money, client is happy, close the case, send him a thank you letter to that, and be in touch with the client through the client portal, so that exactly it's a win-win situation for you. So end of the day, after that, the court closes the case, and you may also have a right at the mandamus action, as Rahul rightly said, for EAJ fees. That means Equal Access to Justice Act. And for that, I believe, like after the case, there's a limited timeline, a limited window that you have. But remember, under EAJA, it's important for you. You cannot ask for any arbitrary amounts, because you have to ask for a very limited amount, and you have to see what, and for that, PACER comes into play. You need to see how much lawyers are asking in terms of EAJA fees, because if you ask for an excessive fee, the court can be really mad at you, and you can wind up in troubled waters. Am I correct on that, Rahul?
Yes, absolutely correct.
So because you're not allowed to charge an excessive fee under the law. So I hope you all enjoyed the session, and thank you so much for watching. And the number is for Anjali to say her last bit, so we can leave, and we'll be back again. Don't forget next week with Larry Rosenthal, and become a speaker by calling Anjali.
So thank you everyone for attending the event. I hope you all made notes. If not, you can always go back to our social media handles or on our website and go back and watch the sessions. The number that you would want to call at would be 212-390-9493. So just give us a call for any question that is related to the sessions that we have, or if you want to have a My Legal Software demo, or if you want to be the speaker for our next webinar. Thank you so much, Mr. Gehi. Thank you so much, Mr.
So last thing is that exactly, if you are in New York City, or if you want Mike to come to your office, he can give a demo there.
Yes.
You can also have a virtual demo. And remember one thing, a lot of paralegals love this. Paralegals love it, and they've been recommending the bosses to at least get a demo, because it makes their life easy. I know as a lawyer, I don't sit on it all the time, but every second paralegal, I want this, I want this. Paralegals, talk to your bosses, take your demo, because I know the hard work that you all do. This will make your life easy, because at the end of the day, I swear to God, there are some bosses who yell. So the yelling will stop to a substantial extent, because they'll get everything on their fingertips. It helps you to have a better chemistry with your boss. Thank you, folks. It's great being here. And the instant program, there's no, I would say, like, if there was any legal advice, it was general in nature. It does not apply to any particular facts or circumstances in every matter. And, make sure that this is a general kind of discussion that we are having. For sure, that's a disclaimer for everyone. Thank you all. We'll be back again next week. Remember, with Larry Rosenthal. And if you like it, share this video and do your best. And don't forget to call Anjali. Thank you all.